So this is a case study on my client, Matthew. I went to Michigan State University with Matthew. We lived on the dorms together, and he reached out to me when he saw me posting about getting into dating coaching. And we worked together for 3.5 months. So the before, no intention. He was operating without any direction and exhausted by dating apps. He was leaking masculinity, trapped in approval seeking and conflict avoidance. So Matthew was a self-proclaimed nice guy. That's how he approached me. He said, I'm just too nice. So the dynamic was chronic people pleasing, resulting in the friend zone. So after the transformation, he was self-regulated. Over 3 months, we were able to resolve his anxious attachment style to a secure attachment style. He's unapologetic and unafraid to offend or hold a strong opinion. And the result is he has a girlfriend now. Great result. Let's go over the diagnosis real quick here. So he has covert contracts. His niceness is not really altruistic. It's a transaction. It's a contract. So he was performing kind acts, expecting something in return, like affection, approval, attraction. Subconsciously, he was putting the other person in debt. Emotional repression. Basically, he represses his desires because he thinks that this is being respectful, and he thinks that respect will be rewarded with attraction. But this is rarely how attraction works. Repression is primarily driven by a deep-seated fear of rejection. Wound identification. So after we did wound identification, we went on to trigger inventory. Basically, we wanted to identify what was triggering him. In what situations did he find himself doing these behaviors, these people-pleasing behaviors? On top of that, we gave him just a regular clicker. So this is based off of, it's just a mindfulness exercise. So it's based off a story of a monk that was addicted to potato chips. And so the monk allowed himself to eat potato chips whenever he wanted, as much as he wanted. But he savored the potato chips and he literally focused on the texture, the taste. He really dialed in, he really dove in the sensory experience of eating potato chips, and he just really concentrated and focused on eating it. Eventually, he disgusted himself with this and he quit. So the moral of the story is we have to be hyper aware of our behaviors in order to correct them. So the clicker exercise means physically click to note every instance of approval seeking, conflict avoidance, or people pleasing, right? We're trying to create a gap between impulse and action. This observation, almost clinical observation, it robs the behavior of its addictive pull. So what we implement is actually shock therapy, what I would consider shock therapy. So the goal is to dismantle his panic response and recalibrate his nervous system away from social fear. And what we do is we implement social defiant routines. So we were purposefully injecting thrill and dread into his central nervous system with controlled, safe challenges. The goal of these routines is to elicit a response, is to elicit a fight or flight response in your central nervous system, with the end result being safety. So the first one we did was basically every day he had to stand somewhere very crowded in public, still, not doing anything, just stand. 10 minutes. No phone, just stand. This is incredibly socially awkward. This does not feel good to your central nervous system at all. So he did this for 5 days, and he started to develop a callus where he's like, I don't feel anything. 5 days, I did this 5 times and it didn't do anything. So day 6, we had him cutting in line at the movies, at the grocery store, at the gas station, just cutting in line. This is incredibly socially awkward. He didn't develop a callus for 20 days doing this. It's always hard. Well, eventually he did. On the 20th day, he said, I could cut in line anywhere for the rest of my life now. So this is proof that it works, right? So what this does, this eroded his panic response, and this kind of recalibrated his baseline social anxiety, and he saw the results. So cutting in line, the social anxiety associated with cutting in line acts on the same parts of the brain as social anxiety you get with cold approach. So next, the clicker technique. So he noticed the clicker count at the end of each day going down, or the end of each other day going down. The thing is, he became aware of all of his behaviors, hyper aware. The third tactic that we use is linguistic and mental shifts. So language is upstream from behavior, and we can reprogram our communication patterns. So first, we eliminated the word sorry from his vocabulary completely. So instead of saying, "I'm sorry for being late," he would say, "Thank you for your patience." Effectively, it was a positive reframe. We flipped a self-deprecating statement into a statement of gratitude. And he did this for any time he would say sorry about anything. So next, we would avoid straight answers. First, you're leaking masculinity when you give full information whenever someone requests it of you. Second, this curbs his urge to over-explain everything. If he's under-explaining everything, as a habit that he's trying, this eventually led to him over-explaining far less in the long term. We're really just challenging compulsive needs to over-explain and people please. And we practice this by being deliberately indirect or playful to break a pattern of the automatic compliance. And to keep him accountable, we had a no log. So this is based on the idea, if you can't say no, your yes has no meaning, it holds no weight. So he had to practice disappointing people. He actively sought out opportunities to say no and state personal preferences and logged them each time he did. The goal is not to become disagreeable. The goal is not to become a toxic guy. The goal is not to become alpha overnight. All we wanted to do was move away from this default automatic compliance. If you don't prioritize your mission as a man, no one will prioritize you as a man. So after these calibrated shocks, the output theoretically should be our regulated baseline. That is when we can start game. That is when we can start teaching him mechanisms of attraction. So month 3, we start learning game and we start doing cold approach. Cold approach system looks like this. So first we calibrate state. This is just about getting enough sleep, eating healthy, eating whole foods, getting your steps in, checking your posture, slowing down your pace, establishing a base that we can operate from so that we can be dominant. The first real step is to warm up and build social energy. That means chatting with anyone and everyone and complimenting men, complimenting women. So basically a taunter entry is just self-amused, absurd, and unpredictable. In the first 60 days, we were working very closely together on the phone every day. So he was picking up a lot of this taunter mentality that I natural at, essentially. So this is, we're not complimenting, we're teasing and we're being absurd, and we are pointing out absurdities. We're basically making fun of our environment around us. We are making a cartoon villain of her preferences, and essentially we are being unpredictable. The way this works is if you get rejected twice using this approach, you come back, you warm up again, and you go to direct dismissive, basically where you do a small compliment and then you're dismissive immediately after. This is John's circuit game. One of the low-key best in the world. So after the approach, if she engages, if she doesn't engage, we exit clean, we get the rejection info, we increment our rejection count as if we're alternating styles, and then we go back and we warm up again, okay? If she does engage, we are creating friction, we're disagreeing, we're implementing teasing loops, okay? We want to screen fast for compliance. Then we want to figure out if she's high cost. Basically, we're objection handling and we're shit test passing, okay? If everything goes well, we are going to lead the logistics with statements and not questions, okay? We're going to pass more tests. Interrogation, tone policing is usually the one that crops up the most. If you are getting tested, easiest way to pass it is just name it and close it and return to baseline. That means you call out exactly what she's doing, you laugh at it, and then you return back to what you were talking about. Very simple. If she's not testing you, you keep building tension until she does. She will. There's not enough tension if she's not testing you. Okay? Tension is better than touch, and closeness is better than pressure. Okay? We want her to touch eventually. We want her to escalate first, and we need her to be chasing our approval. That's the name of the game. So if she does not escalate first, we maintain the pressure and we just stay amused. Staying amused is the most key part. If she does escalate, we reward her in measured doses. Then we end the instant date. If this is an instant date, we end it first, leaving at the peak of emotion. No debrief. Just say, hey, I actually gotta go. It was great to meet you. We have contact number. we'll be in touch. And then you just do the regular post-game discipline, scarce attention, set the next meet on your terms with a minimal communication over text. Very easy framework. So this is the framework that I walk all my clients through when we get to the cold approach part of the coaching, if it is a nice guy reprogram framework, which is month 3. And that is exactly what we did with Matt. And we were able to get Matt a girlfriend from cold approach, actually. I think that he actually knew the girl, so he cold approached a girl that he already knew at college. He's going for his MBA at Wayne State University. Hilarious.